As you know, listening is often more important than speaking. And I have listened closely to leaders of many countries, particularly Commonwealth nations, whose communities are some of the most climate vulnerable on this earth.
Welcome back to our channel. Today we will be looking at one of the biggest and the most tragic love stories of the British monarchy, Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Despite their royal, pretty fairy tale wedding, their marriage was characterized by scandal, tragedy, as well as heartbreak. People got married with the hope of having that perfect marriage as portrayed by the two. And although what the public saw was a beautiful union, what they encountered behind closed doors was a far cry from the perfect marriage. This video will definitely complicate their love story. How did it sour? Why did they grow apart? And what roles did the press, betrayal, and the royal expectations play in the breakdown of their marriage? Well then, allow me to present to you a new episode of History of Ruin and meandering through this tale of love, loss, and public execution. A dream wedding, the fairy tale begins. On the 29th of July in 1981, viewers around the world sat glued on their television screens as the royal wedding between Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer went down. Being classy and elegant, the royal carriage at St. Paul's Cathedral in London was more like a fairy tale. Diana, wearing her beautiful white wedding gown with the train measuring 25 feet, looked like any little girl's fairy tale figure. Besides, as for the daughter of an aristocratic family, she was the suitable bride for future King of England. To Charles, it was tradition and expectation of a wedding. Pressure followed him as the next in line for the throne of the British kingdom. Royal wedding does not only involve personal happiness, but it reflects the image of monarch or the royal family. Diana, sexual, young, and looking healthy, could be regarded as the personification of hope for the British people. However, the glamour of the fairy tale wedding did not camouflage all the chirpy moments beneath it. The public loved Diana, but between her and Charles began to develop some issues. Diana too was looking forward to her part. She was young, innocent, and in no way prepared for the rigors of royalty. David Cameron was supportive in a way that Charles was already attached to another woman, Camilla Parker Bowles. This baggage, one could say, would soon come to bother the newlyweds. Even though the whole scene looked like a fairy tale movie, everybody could see that all is not well with this marriage. Grazing in the light of royalty, Diana was immediately exposed to the pressure that was not unfamiliar to Charles, though completely unfamiliar to Diana. To enhance her adjustment, the exposure to media as well as reception from other people made it worse for her. Soon, Diana realized the basic ontological truth inherent in royal life, which means they started burdening her with great pressure. The pleasant episode of the fairy tale marriage that should bring happiness to the young ornament would become an emotionally exhaustive story for her in the near future. The affair that defined their marriage. Charles and Camilla. I am sure you are aware of the problems Diana faced in royal life, while for Charles his affair with Camilla Parker Bowles still continued. Despite having other plans to sever all ties with Camilla before marrying Diana, the affection which they shared never faded out completely. In the years to come, this was to be one of the key sources of friction in the relationship between Charles and Diana. It was an emotional attachment between Charles and Camilla. Though he got married to Diana, he continued to be friends with Camilla, a fact which was not concealed from Diana for long. To Diana, this knowledge was disastrous because she believed that she would assist Charles to let go of his past friendships. But what she got was being in a fight for his attention against a woman who had been close to him much before she had been. Far from being ignorant to this, Diana was too well aware of the affection that Charles harbored for Camilla. She would later come clean that she knew of the affair and that it had saddened her. Diana portrays in public a model wife and mother. In real life, she was struggling to cope with infidelity. The affair deepened her grief and realized that while the media was often highly critical of her actions, it had failed to report on Charles's continued association with Camilla. Under that pressure, Diana still tried to keep her stares per level, yet the tension in her marriage ruined her. The media stars would occasionally catch sight of her looking troubled, something that only stirred the rumor mill even more, as to whether she had indeed split with her boyfriend. But at the same time, Charles was stuck between his commitment to Diana and passion toward Camilla that he couldn't seem to conquer. It only got worse as time goes on because they stopped recognizing each other's existence. The affair further did not only offend Diana hormonally, but also parasitically attacked her person. She could have hardly imagined the divorce, literally the royal fairy tale's over, or the fall of the royal fairy tale. After years of stress on their side of marriage, Charles and Diana decided to officially separate in 1992. It was the #1 royal scandal, the golden duo of the British monarchy who were now leading separate lives. This separation particularly was well articulated, and the media followed along the moves every step taken by this couple. Even though there was no divorce on the spot, one could tell that their marriage was no longer existing. The divorce was worked out in 1996, and after that the relations were tense and people showed it. It was so stressful in both. Charles and Diana were emotionally worn out. However, the media did not leave them alone. Diana, who was earlier depicted as a perfect royal princess, was now painted as a distorted soul who could not cope with the breakdown of her marriage. Even when Charles and Diana officially separated as husband and wife, they were still parents to 2 young boys, Prince William and Prince Harry. The public remained eager admirers of their lives, but Rigby's writes that the emotional and personal side of this marriage was moving. Charles and Diana had been through years of media pressure and pain in their emotional lives. After divorce, Diana Post was defined as a symbol of compassion, especially when she started campaigning for AIDS patients and victims of landmines. But her personal life was never kept secret, and her shocking death in a car accident, which occurred in 1997, was a big shock to the world. Her title, the People's Princess, endured well after she was gone, and her marriage to Charles, one of the most widely discussed aspects of royal affairs to this date. The legacy of their marriage. Implications of the concept of love and loss. It is now a decade since the painful dissolution of the marriage between Prince Charles and Lady Diana. However, both the royal family and the public internationally have never erased this from their memories. Even if they divorced after their wedding, people still hear their story. After her death, Diana was built up as an image of strength, and we also saw her best remembered as a symbol of compassion and charity. Her relationship even with Charles was not very good, yet inexplicably she influenced and defined how the British monarchy is seen. Even Charles, however, the dissolution of the marriage had its effect on him. Even after carrying on his affair, he took more heat for his part in the dismantling of the marriage. The royal family's image will never be the same after the ugly breakup and death of Charles and Diana's marriage. The marriage and divorce must have been liberating to them, not only as individuals, but also acted as a wake-up call to the royal family as to the life they signed up for. This paper will explore how exactly Charles and Diana had a loving marriage, but also a very unhappy one. Gioconda's smile has never been seen on faces of this royal couple anyway. This love tragedy still strikes the book of history of the British kings. The sad fate of a royal wedding. And that's all I have on the sad and convoluted narrative of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. There is a love story that may have started in the fairy tale and ended in a tragedy, more so a scandal. Still, both Charles and Diana are people who are the part of history and who will be remembered for their efforts. To this date, people are still intrigued with their lives, and their story teaches everyone that no matter how beautiful their life may be, there is always sorrow, heartbreak, and struggle. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to click on the like button, share, and subscribe channel. Please don't despair, we will be uploading more intense tales and background information about officiate royals in our next videos. Until the next time, bye and be ready for more amazing posts.